Tonight is not the end of the world. This is our hot tip of the evening. Oh, well. Tonight, we're going to be talking about trigonometric ratios. And Kundalini and meditation. And music. We're going to be doing 3 meditations tonight. You'll be learning 3 meditation techniques to use the Kundalini. And essentially, what I'm going to be doing with those techniques is using the Kundalini, moving it through your subtle physical bodies to raise you into altered states of attention, while showing you how you can do that yourself. Tonight, 3 of my friends and 3 of my students, they're one and the same, are going to be performing some live music. As you see, we have amplifiers, we have speakers, we have headphones, we have all kinds of things. And tonight we're going to have some live music for the meditations. We'll be doing 3 meditations of approximately 10 minutes to an hour each. About 10 minutes to 15 minutes each throughout the evening. And so we'll have some music to meditate too. I like to use music in group meditations because it's harder to hear the megaphones. And this is something they teach you in the Spiritual Teacher Training Academy in another world. And so we'll have lots of music tonight, lots of sound. The Kundalini is music, it's energy, it's excitement, it's power. And in the back, someone heard that word and they said, power! No, not that kind of power. Power, pure, unadulterated power, limitless, mindless. No. Power, that's the Kundalini. The Kundalini is the life force. It is the essential energy of existence. It's the hidden ingredient in life. Bless you. It is what makes it all work. So, tonight we're going to be talking about meditation and Kundalini. How many of you, if any, are new to meditation? Could you raise your hand, please? A few. Okay, great, good. All right, well, then let's begin at the beginning. That's usually a good place. Meditation. Why do you meditate? I suppose it's different for everybody. Some people meditate because they need more energy. And when you meditate, of course, you get a lot of energy, a tremendous amount of energy. Some people meditate because they are sick and tired of their lives, of the world, of the way people abuse each other in this world and abrogate each other's freedoms. And essentially they want out. It's sort of stop the universe, I want to get off. They just feel that there's more. The life that we see on our small planet is not necessarily a great reflection of the entire universe. The planet is beautiful. The animals are beautiful. The people are beautiful, but they tend to destroy one another. And that's not necessarily an operative principle in all dimensions. So some people meditate because they want to get the larger picture on life, because it could get kind of discouraging if this was all there was. There are thousands of worlds, thousands of dimensional planes, billions, endless. Life is endless. It's discouraging. It goes on forever. I mean, that's a long time. And you're eternal, which means that you have a great deal of time on your hands. So tonight I'd like to use a little bit of that time and discuss just about anything that seems irrelevant. And by discussing all things that are irrelevant, we'll find that what is left over is relevant. And what is relevant? That which you can't discuss, which is why we meditate, because when we meditate we enter into silence, stillness. Meditation essentially means having a great time. Some people, they've applied a sense or a feeling to the meditative experience such that I like that phrase. Such that, yeah, just trying to loosen everybody up a little bit. Such that meditation has become a quantifiable religious experience, which means that it's not any fun. In other words, meditation has been turned into a tool of the bourgeoisie. No, I'm sorry. It's the wrong incarnation. I get, I'm in different ones at different times, and I got to bring it around and get it straight. Sorry, this is the right America. Meditation is wonderful. It's just terrific. It's so wonderful. I don't know, why don't you do it more? It's the best. I mean, it's the best thing since sliced Kundalini, right? It's terrific. How do you meditate? You should never ask. It's easy. All you have to do is stop all your thought, and that's it. See, now you know. Admission, $7. Meditation taught. Mission accomplished. That is the secret. Now, you might, of course, ask, well, how do you stop all your thought, Rama? And I would say, well, that's the art, isn't it? Tonight we're going to have 3 very talented musicians playing, and I assure you that the first time they sat down and played, they never thought they would end up where they are. Tonight I'm going to fry them with the Kundalini. They're going to be within the 12-foot range. That's the kill range on the Kundalini level. These guys have never been on stage with me. They have no idea what they're in for. But we'll all be very chic and casual and hip about it, and just... I like it. So, anyway, you're trying to meditate. How do you do it? Boy, we're going to learn. We're going to learn how to do this meditation thing. When you leave here tonight, you won't. How do you meditate? Well, you have to learn to be very, very gentle to start with yourself, essentially. Because meditation is not something that you force. You see? It's something that happens to you because, life gives you a gift. There are billions of people out there walking around, and they wear a lot of shoes. Have you ever thought about that? But anyway, there are billions of people out there walking around, and they don't meditate. You can tell. They're not having a good time with their lives. It's bad out there, friends. It's just people are not happy. It's just not working. One nation trying to destroy another, one race trying to destroy another, one religion trying to destroy another. It's the same old story. Over and over again. It's because they don't meditate. Now, I'm not suggesting everyone should meditate. Far from it. Meditation is for very few individuals. When I speak of meditation, of course, I'm speaking of something that's a powerful experience. Some people speak of meditation, it's kind of relaxation. Then you do the mantra. Then. Okay. That's nah. That's not what I'm talking about. Nah. Meditation is the entrance into alternate planes of consciousness. Yeah, it's fun. So the way you do it is by not trying to be too good at it too quickly. This is essential because otherwise you won't have fun with it. If you expect anything in particular to happen, the stars to spin in the sky, light to flood your being, the Kundalini to surge through you, give it a month. Don't expect that to start out with, because you'll be very discouraged because it probably won't happen. At best, at the beginning, you'll just kind of be kind of confused, and you're not sure what you're supposed to do, and you're trying to do the stuff that they say, and you don't even know why you're doing it. And I don't know why you're doing it either. But I do know that if you do that for a long period of time, you will change in ways that I can't understand. But that's neither here nor there. So how do you meditate? Well, the way you meditate is, well, there's not just one way. There's a lot of ways. That's why it's difficult to talk about, because there's so many ways to meditate. A good way to start is with love. Love is perhaps the strongest force in the universe. When you meditate with love, what you do is you feel love, and love is like a bird. You kind of ride it. You get on its back and you ride it up very, very high, above the thought level. You're trying to stop thought, but all your life you've been thinking. You've been taught to thought, to analyze, to look at things. Facts. Gotta have the facts, ma'am. Remember Friday on Dragnet? Yeah. So you gotta have the facts, right? But here we're going to do something. Facts? I could care less. What facts? You call those facts? Wait, I don't see a fact. See any facts? I'm looking for a fact. This is called fact-finding. Oh. Bad. I know. So, I don't know anything about facts, but I do know how to meditate. And all you have to do is stop your thought. And if you stop your thought for a sustained period of time, you'll enter into other states of attention. But fortunately, the good news, I know this is ridiculous, but bear with me. I'll get through this phase. The good news is that you don't have to stop thought completely to be able to meditate well. Isn't that good? Phew. Because it takes a long time to be able to stop thought impeccably. What you need to do is to detach yourself from thought, the serious part of the talk. There are essentially 3 stages in learning how to meditate. In the beginning, you're simply sitting and trying to practice without any concern of what is happening, what is not happening, whether you're gaining benefit from it, and so on. You're just trying to do it. And this is the stage of ignoring thought. In the second part of the practice, we stop thought for limited periods of time, and when we don't stop thought, what we're doing is learning to think specific types of thoughts. In other words, thought control, mind control. So, thought control. Sorry, it slipped again. The third stage is no thought. Now, no thought is not the end of meditation. That's the beginning of higher meditation. That means that you are about to experience the other aspects of your being. You're an endless conglomeration of awarenesses. You're not one singular self. You're a corporation. Inside you is eternity. Everything's there. A human being is not so simple. You know, we're told that we're Ted or Sally or Willie or whatever, and that we grow up and have experiences and we die, or maybe we go to heaven. I don't know. But I do know that that has nothing to do with what life is. Your eternity. You have thousands of selves inside you. And meditation is a process of peeling back the layers of this self. We start with peeling back the personality form from this lifetime, your current one, the mental conditioning, the things that they told you, girls wear pink, you know, that sort of thing. Because these are ridiculous ideas that human beings have come up with. And in every culture they're different. I mean, there's no arbitrary standard of truth. And what they do is block you from being the totality of yourself. Meditation is not for everybody. I'll grant you that. That's for sure. Because when you meditate, you're going to become conscious. And most people don't want to be too conscious. Because they're afraid. They're afraid of awareness. They're afraid of life. They're afraid of being happy. Now that may sound ridiculous. And I would have thought so a long time ago. But having been around the world a little bit, I've seen that it's not ridiculous. People really don't want to be happy. They go out of their way to be miserable. So if you want to be that way, I can't do a thing for you. Nobody can. Because you've already set the program and it's running. You've debugged it. Misery. Nothing's going to work out. Everybody's against me. Life has no meaning. You're right there, but... Well, it doesn't need a meaning. I mean, a meaning is an arbitrary thought formulation that we affix to it because we're in the mood. Life is its own meaning. It's its own raison d'etre. It's exciting. The Kundalini is the energy of existence. Kundalini is the life force. It's given different names. Sometimes they call it prana. Okay? Sometimes they divide it into different segments in Sanskrit, the apana and the samana and all that sort of fancy terminologies. Sometimes it's called Shakti. Nice names, I like the sound of them. All it is energy. It's the life force. The more life force you have, the more you can do, the more alive you are. The Kundalini is said to reside in the base of the spine. Now that's a bit of a misnomer because the Kundalini really is not so much in the physical body as in what we call the subtle physical body or body of energy, also known by some as the astral body, that surrounds the physical body, the etheric body. When you see someone's aura, that's just the outer reflection of the subtle physical body. The subtle physical body is about the same shape as the physical body, although it can change shapes. It can become thousands of different things. But it does have a basic structure. And the way it works is, of course, as you all know, there are 7 primary chakras or energy centers that run along, theoretically, along the spinal column. And the root chakra at the very base of the spine is where the Kundalini is said to reside. The Kundalini is thought of as a serpent, as a snake, as something that's coiled. It means coiled. It's going to spring out. It isn't really like that. But it sounds good. It's much more intense than that. It's much more complete. The Kundalini is not some little snap thing that goes whip, okay? The Kundalini is the totality of the universe. All of the life energy of existence is going to flow through you. You will be in thousands of planes of consciousness at once or beyond all in nirvana absorbed. Or maybe having a sandwich with a friend, confronting an olive. And you can see the life in that olive. You can know what it is to be an olive. You can. Because you can detach your attention from yourself and go anywhere. You can wander the universe. Big deal. So to meditate then, what you need to do is to be able to free yourself from your ideas and your thoughts, which are probably wonderful. Liar! No, they're probably wonderful. Wonderful thoughts and ideas you have. Great. But sometimes there's something more, and that's beyond thought. Because all of the higher dimensional planes, the higher realities, the infinite cosmos itself, is beyond thought. It's certainly something that you can experience and be, as are the other aspects of yourself. Why are people unhappy? People are unhappy because they don't understand life. They're unhappy because, I mean, it's obvious why they're unhappy. Maybe it's better to look at what makes someone happy. By happy, I don't just mean but complete, aware, conscious, poignant, caring, loving, unaffected, cosmic, simplistic, humble, excited, passive, everything. You're everything. We're a stage, and they're players, and they come and they speak the speech, the loves, the experiences, the cares, the sorrows. It all passes through us. We're the audience. We're watching. We're the participant. We're the reviewer. We're everything. To know that truth, to know that awareness and still not get too stuck on yourself, so you're like not God's gift to the world, To avoid that, to be conscious of life, to love, to be free, and yet to be able to deal with the world effectively, to be able to handle that freeway traffic, to be able to deal with pain, and love and ecstasy. Ecstasy can be painful when it's intense enough. When the Kundalini surges enough, the ecstasy is so complete it's overwhelming sometimes. Eventually you go into samadhi, very advanced meditation. You dissolve in the clear light of eternity again and again. The experience of enlightenment tomorrow night. How do you meditate? We're going to do a meditation technique. And I'm going to go through it now, and we're going to do one. You will find that they will build over the evening. We're going to do 3 of them. This will be the first one. I'd like you to listen carefully. They seem very simple, and they are. That's why they work. But they're extremely powerful. Tonight, as we meditate together, I'm going to be moving in and out of different planes of attention and taking the Kundalini and surging it through you in a lot of different ways to show you inside what it feels like to meditate. Naturally, when you're here, there's lots of wonderful people, and they've got lots of wonderful energy. And so you'll feel a lot of different things. But the true test of how the experience was, what it did for you, was how you feel when you get home. Go home, have a little bite to eat, relax, and look around you. See the energy. See how you feel tomorrow. If we did a good job, you'll be pretty gone. What I'd like you to do is to, in a moment, stay relaxed, in a moment, to sit up straight. It's good when you meditate to sit up straight. Normally when you practice meditation, you can sit in a chair, which I wish you would tonight. Please don't sit in the aisles, because there are fire laws, you know. I don't know, fire has problems with it. But you can sit like this, you can sit, I don't know, any way you want. As long as you sit up straight and your spine is straight. You should be comfortable. It's good to wear a clean, loose clothing when you meditate. You can meditate naked if that's what you're into. It doesn't matter. The main thing is to learn to be still. Now, so therefore, why all this music when you're trying to be still? The music is used as a backdrop. We have a lot of people together, a lot of different energies, and it gives us something to focus on a little bit. And I take the Kundalini and I play against the notes with it. I kind of do a light show, inwardly and outwardly, with the energy, with vortexes of energy as you sit there, opening up different parts of you that maybe you haven't felt since you were a child. It's no big deal. It's just what I do. What I'd like you to do is to do a meditation. During this experience, the next 10 or 12 minutes while we're sitting here and feeling in new ways, new energies, you're storing something. Don't be looking for the flashy experience. It may happen. But if it's strong enough, you won't realize it's happened until much later, when you start to come down from it. What we're looking for here is storing power. You're accumulating energy, the Kundalini. So I'd like you to begin this evening, just for a moment, by taking your hand and touching the area around your navel. Just take your hand and touch that area, okay? And you'll know how much weight you need to lose. The holidays are always devastating. Okay, this is one of the nadis. This is one of the places where the Kundalini hangs out. So what I'd like you to do is, while the music is on, I'd like you to practice a simple exercise for maybe 4 or 5 minutes. Then you can stop the exercise and just go and leave the driving to us. What I'd like you to do is to focus your attention here, and you will feel surges of energy. You don't have to touch that spot when you do this. And I'd like you to feel the energy moving. We're going to move that energy from here to the center of the chest. Now touch the center of the chest right here. This is the heart chakra. This is the navel chakra. These are 2 primary energy centers. The heart chakra is a very pure, luminous energy center. The Sushumna is the tube that the Kundalini passes up in the subtle physical body. On one side is a little guy called the Ida, and on the other side is the Pingala. We're going to move the Kundalini from the solar plexus region, where it stores, right up into the heart center, which purifies it and connects the 2 halves of the being. This is the central chakra. There are 3 above: the heart chakra, throat chakra, third eye, and of course the crown chakra. Navel center, 1 halfway down, and then 1 all the way at the base of the spine. So to start with, we're going to do a simple exercise, but it's strong. Focusing here, and then what I'd like you to imagine Because imagination is power in the inner world. When you use your imagination, you are creating a movement of energy. It's not arbitrary. It's not daydreaming, okay? Well, daydreaming is energy. What I'd like you to do is to sit up, relax, feel this area of your body, and feel energy, or just imagine it, moving from here to here, like a little surge, like a little fountain, going from here to here. If it goes further, fine, don't worry about it. And so you just sort of feel energy kind of going from here to here. Then you're going to come back down again and bring it from here to here. Little circle. Then you're going to come back down again and bring it from here to here. But at this point, we're not taking the energy so much in a circle, it's just bringing it up. And I'd just like you to repeat this for a few minutes, 4 or 5 minutes. And as you do, you'll notice your attention level changing. Thoughts will come in and out of your mind. At this point, please just ignore them. Don't try and fight with them or stop them yet. Just ignore them. Relax. And just keep this focus. After doing that for a few minutes, stop. Let go. And just let the music absorb you or the energy absorb you. The energy changes will be very, very fast. Very quick. I'll snap you through a lot of different planes of attention very quickly. If you feel uncomfortable, relax. It'll go away in a moment. You're trying too hard. Relax a little bit. Lighten up. Have fun with it. Smile a little bit. If it gets too intense, just sit back. You might meditate with your eyes closed. Normally that's the easiest. Once in a while it's fun to meditate with the eyes open and gaze forward without a particular focus. We'll talk more about that later. To stop thought, you have to go above it. So we're collecting energy, and then that energy, when it's freed, it's like a flood, and the water will rise and rise and will take us above a certain level, and then there's no thought. Then we're in altered states of attention. That's how the Kundalini works, one of the ways. So I'd like you to focus your attention here, and then just very gently, as you sit there with your eyes closed, just bring the energy from here to here. Just imagine it. You don't have to see a picture in your mind. Just feel it. Focus here, then feel here, then here, then here, and just feel it rising up. And as you do, you may feel a sensation kind of like you're floating. You may see visual colors, particularly if your eyes are open. You may see colors. There'll be certain light changes that they're doing here. But aside from that, you may see subtle changes in the subtle physical. Maybe no phenomena. It doesn't matter. You're absorbing energy. You're absorbing power, which you'll take with you when you leave this evening. So let us begin. If you'd please sit up nice and straight. Relax. Close your eyes. Focus your attention. Navel center. We'll be meditating for about 10 minutes, so just have a nice time. Don't fall asleep. And just let yourself go. Let yourself wander. You're thinking, what am I supposed to do? What's going to happen? Who knows? I don't know. That's what makes life exciting. Just let go. Ignore thought. Feel. Just practice feeling. Feel the energy shifts in the room. Ride the music for a while. Ride the energy. Go beyond thought. Feel love. Feel peace. Don't think about tomorrow or yesterday. They don't exist. Yesterday's gone. Tomorrow hasn't happened. We only have this night, and this night is eternity. Good. Let us begin. Please sit back and relax. There are many, many ways to meditate. Essentially, in the very beginning, when you meditate, you're learning how to feel again. When we're very young children, we know how to feel. It's innate. But as we lead a lifetime, we pick up so many thoughts, impressions, feelings, ideas, that our sensitivity goes away. Now, little children don't meditate perfectly. Don't misunderstand me. Some children are perfectly horrible. But their subtle physical bodies are perfectly intact. But as we grow up, as we're exposed to hate and greed and anger and jealousy and peanut brittle and all kinds of things, our subtle body erodes. The subtle body must be intact to transmit the Kundalini, the life force. As the subtle body wears, we get sick, and that's why eventually the body dies, is because something happens to the subtle body. The integrity of the subtle body is totally important. Think of the subtle body as the framework. I mean, the veins, capillaries, organs, everything is required for the body to function. The subtle physical body also is made up of many different strands of luminous energy, and energies are flowing through them constantly in the etheric plane. That supports, of course, the physical body. Above the subtle body, there's the causal body, and then, of course, the soul, or whatever you want to call it. That which we are. We're the universe. We're all intelligent. So what are we doing here? Well, life is like that. You end up in the strangest places. They had a great brochure for this particular planet before this incarnation. You probably read it too. If you're starting to meditate, I suggest that you set up a schedule for yourself. It's good to meditate twice a day. If you're an absolute beginner, once a day. If you can't get yourself to meditate once a day, then try once a year. Now, you shouldn't expect as much, of course. Once a day is good to start. Okay. Best time to meditate is when you first get up in the morning, or evening, or whenever you rise. Okay. What you want to do, get up, wake up, take a shower or whatever, and sit down and meditate. Most people have a little meditation table. They sit in front of when they meditate, or sit in a chair. And sometimes they keep large amounts of cash on it. And they hope that through the process of meditation, when they finish meditating, there will be more. I don't know. But I myself have candles on mine and some flowers. The candles are nice because the light is very gentle. It's easy on the eyes. And sometimes a little incense burning. Sometimes the rug. Whatever you're in the mood for. The flowers are nice. They bring nature into our universe. And then what should you do? It's a good idea sometimes before you start a meditation to chant a mantra. A mantra is a very powerful word. It vibrates like music does, only not just on this plane, but on other planes of reality. It creates a power of force. It starts the Kundalini moving. There are many different mantras. The most powerful of all mantras, of course, is Om, spelled A-U-M or O-M. It's usually chanted either silently or out loud, but it's stretched. So it's Om, stretched. All mantras are always elongated. The mantra for beauty is Sring, S-R-I-N-G, to enter into the states of beauty. And that's Sring. It's Sring, and so on. So if you would chant Om, either silently or out loud, maybe 7 times. 7 powerful numbers, 7 higher worlds and 7 lower worlds, according to one philosophy. If you would chant Om 7 times, sit down. Okay, woke up. Oh man, God, I gotta meditate, man. I can't take it, man. Jeez. Last night, man, that party, God, I got so wasted.
How am I going to do it? Man, I don't know. Rama said I got to do it, man. I'll do it. Jeez, they're going to light the candles. Oh, I lit the flower, man. God. Oh, it's bad karma, man. Like, I won't tell anyone. I'll just put it back together. No one will know. I'm going to do this thing, man. I'm going to sit here and I got to do this Om jazz, man. Sounds pretty jive, but I'll try it, man. I'm going to do it now. No one will hear me, man. They'll think I'm sick. I go, Om. That's good enough, man. He'll never know. Now I'm going to do this. What do I got to do? One of those exercises he taught us, man. I got loaded before I went that night. It was pretty far out. I liked the music a lot. I don't know if I can remember. Let's see what he said. Something about the heart, man. I got to like focus, like right here. I'm going to like put my attention. That's right. I'm going to sit up straight, man. Oh, he didn't say I didn't have to breathe. No, you can do any kind of breathing. Just okay.
So what you're going to do then, we cut back to the present moment, is after you chanted Om a few times and sort of gotten yourself basically together and put the flower out, you're going to sit there and focus your attention in a number of different ways. Any of the exercises that you start out with will get the Kundalini moving. You don't have to stay with them for the entire period of meditation. You want to go beyond them. We want to walk through the door. Once we're through the door, we're outside. We're in another world. But we need to get up and walk through the door. So a meditation exercise serves that purpose. It's not something to stay with because you'll fixate on it. We want to go beyond thought, beyond ideation, beyond feeling, beyond everything. But we start in the physical and in the mind. We use the transitory to go to the eternal because they're really interconnected. So you'll sit down in the morning. Okay, if you can't make it in the morning, try the evening to start with. Do the late show. Okay? But you meditate best in the morning. Even though you may be a little tired, the mind has not been active yet. Once you've been thinking, analyzing, talking, picking up energy, being active, it's harder to slow it down. Even though you're a little tired, the mind hasn't been moving. It's easier to make it still. When you meditate in the morning, you pick up a lot of energy, focus, awareness, and that will be with you throughout the day. You'll have a shield of energy around you. It brightens the subtle physical body, so you won't pick up as much negative energy from your transactions with the world. Your mind will be clear. You'll do everything well. Everything's better with blue bonnet on it. Right. So if you smear it all over yourself before you meditate, no. Kinky, boy. I tell you. So sit there and meditate. Practice one of these exercises that I'm showing you tonight, or another one that you may know, to start out with. Then what are you supposed to do? As I suggested, there are 3 stages. If you're very new to meditation, simply practice the exercise for a few minutes, say 5 minutes, or as long as is comfortable. Then after doing that for about 5 minutes or so, stop, just let go. Letting go is the hardest thing, isn't it? Because everybody's so afraid. They're so afraid of eternity. They're so afraid of life. They're so afraid of what's on the other side of death. There's nothing but light, infinite awareness. God is everywhere. So, learn to let go. You do it a little at a time, and you have small successes, and those successes in terms of mental clarity, feeling better, deep perceptions about life, developing your psychic abilities, whatever it may be. The changes you go through. You become someone else when you meditate, you know. It isn't just a little technique. If you really pursue it, you change radically, constantly, because you evolve. You can go through hundreds of lifetimes in one. You can experience so much, feel so much, be so much, or be nothing, or everything, or beyond both. And it all starts with that daily meditation practice. How long should you meditate? If you're very new to meditation, maybe 15 minutes is fine. Set a minimum time. You'll sit there for 15 minutes. Don't expect anything in the beginning. Just to do it is enough. It's like jogging. The first few times you do it, you're not going to suddenly be running marathons. But if you do it every day for a little while, you'll find the time will increase by itself. It won't be as hard. It'll feel good. And pretty soon you'll be amazed at what you can do. Or in the case of meditation, not do or undo. If you've been meditating for a while, after a month or so, if you're new to meditation, or 2 months, work it up to half an hour. After 6 months or a year, maybe 45 minutes twice a day. You'll sleep less, have a lot more energy, and you'll begin to become conscious of consciousness, of awareness. Meditation gives you personal power. You'll notice that people will treat you very differently as you progress, because they can feel that power or that energy. Naturally, it's the hope of those of us who teach meditation, particularly the release of the Kundalini, which is a very powerful form of meditation, that you use that power wisely. And if you search your heart, I think you will. You'll learn through experience, like everyone. Experience is the great teacher. You'll have to go through the trials and tribulations and the ecstasies and abandoned moments of wonderfulness that all of us did on the way to enlightenment. It's a great, great life we lead. But it causes substantial changes in the way that you see life, because the way you see life is the way you've been taught to see life. You've been programmed, brainwashed, to see life in very specific forms. Some of them may be useful forms, but still they're specific forms. Life is endless, and we are a body of perception. We're an awareness that's endless. And as you meditate, you experience different parts of that perception, and as perception alters, the universe alters. Because the universe is only perception. So in the beginning, when you're sitting meditating, just ignore thought. Pay no attention. Shine it on. Then, after you're comfortable with sitting there, you've been meditating a month or two, try selectively eliminating negative thoughts. By that I mean thoughts that draw you into the world of unhappiness, that agitate your mind. So rather than worrying about your exam that you've got to take, or your career, or the person you're in love with, or whatever it may be, begin to have thought control. You can practice it during the day also, but start in your meditations. And meditate and think positive thoughts. If you must think good thoughts, happy thoughts, constructive thoughts. You'll find that sometimes while you're sitting there, you'll get a lot of great ideas. Now granted, you want to go beyond ideas and beyond thought, but that takes years of practice, if not lifetimes, to erase thought, even subconscious thought, completely for extended periods of eternity. So in the beginning, we're just stopping thought for a while. But first, just ignore it, then selectively work with your thoughts. And then you'll begin to move into periods of no thought. It'll just happen, and you won't realize it's happened until you've started to think again. And you'll think, boy, I wasn't thinking. It's good to meditate in the early evening if you can. Ideally, one would meditate in the morning, clear yourself, bring in a lot of Kundalini, a lot of energy, go out into the day, have an exciting day, come back slightly worn by the day, but feeling good, having learned in the school of life. Come back, meditate again, and clear yourself again. It's very easy to meditate at sunset. There's a doorway that opens between the worlds at the time of the setting sun. It's very easy to still your thoughts. Sometimes it's fun to meditate outside. Be creative. Meditate at the beach, on a mountaintop, in the desert, wherever you're comfortable. Don't get hung up in rituals or routines. How do you end a meditation session? It's nice to chant a mantra again. Maybe repeat it a few times. It seals the meditation. You'll notice sometimes after meditation I bow. Wonderful for the stomach muscles. What am I doing? You don't have to do it that way. You can just do it inside. You don't have to give it physical form. You're giving the meditation away. You have a meditation. You do your best. And then you just give it to eternity. Don't judge your meditations. Don't rate them. The mind, the physical mind, cannot tell how well you did. So if you start to think, gee, that was a good one, that was a bad one, nonsense. There's no such thing. The only bad meditation is when you don't meditate. As long as you're sitting there trying, something will happen. But you will not necessarily feel the positive effect of your meditation experience, perhaps for a half an hour or an hour after you've ended the meditation. Then suddenly everything will get very clear. You'll just feel very good, a sense of well-being. This is the preliminary, the beginning. You don't stay with well-being. You move to ecstatic consciousness, perceptions about life, eternity. You become the cosmos. Just depends how far you want to go with it. That's up to you. Kundalini can be used in a lot of different ways. Essentially, in the beginning, you're just trying to get it moving within yourself. Everyone has Kundalini. It's already there. But it's a question of waking it up. As I suggested before, the subtle physical body must be intact. If there are problems with the subtle body, it's very hard for the Kundalini to flow. A certain amount of the Kundalini is always floating through the Ida and the Pingala, these two little subtle nerve tubes on either side of the Sushumna, which is the central tube in the subtle physical body. And that's what keeps us alive. When the subtle physical body is damaged, you'll begin to notice changes in your skin, when your skin starts to get kind of gnarly, okay? Dry, problems with it, okay? Now, I'm not speaking of acne. Acne is not necessarily a problem with the subtle physical body. It just means that you have a lot of Kundalini, which stimulates the hormones. But when you see deterioration in the skin, or the hair particularly, you're having problems with the subtle body. You're taking in too much bad energy, usually from people, or you're thinking too many negative thoughts. You're just on the wrong circuit. You're pulling an energy that is not suitable for the human life form. The human life form vibrates at a certain rate, but all vibratory rates are not suitable for human life. So it's very necessary to meditate on higher octave energy, on the clear light, on joy, on happiness, peace. If you try and pull too much power through too soon, you'll injure yourself. The Kundalini can be transmitted. You're trying to awaken it, bring it through you. It brings you into other states of consciousness. But it can also be transmitted. A person who is very adept at the Kundalini, who has a great deal of it, who's gone through this enlightenment process, can transmit it. And that's, of course, what I do. When you're sitting here, I'm taking the Kundalini and moving it through you. Some of you, if you're sensitive, of course, you'll feel it. If not, you won't. But it still has an effect. It's like a radiation. Whether you feel it or not, it's affecting you in a very positive way. You may notice during the meditation sometimes I'm moving my hands and doing different things. What I'm doing is moving the Kundalini in very specific ways. It's kind of like reaching into another dimensional plane and pulling the Kundalini through and moving it through you in specific ways and forms. So you can transmit the Kundalini physically when people are there, of course, long distance. It's energy, interdimensional energy. It's much easier for women to meditate than it is for men. Innately. And it has to do with the nature of a woman's subtle physical body. The subtle physical body of a man and woman is slightly different. Both a man and woman can meditate well, but women will just find it a little bit easier. They have to do a little less work, that's all. Because their subtle physical bodies pick up the Kundalini much more quickly. They vibrate at a slightly different rate. It passes very easily. But that's also problematic, because a woman also picks up bad energy or negative energy. It affects her more. Hate, anger, things like that affect her subtle physical more. Sensitivity is a two-way street. When you're sensitive, you can feel and appreciate, but you can also be injured more easily. But women find it very easy to release the Kundalini and bring it through their beings. The Kundalini brings about changes, structured changes in the being. We're reordering the self. We're made up of a series of awarenesses. Beyond the subtle physical body, we have something called the causal body. And that's more what we are. We're a series of interconnecting awarenesses. It's possible. It's like a molecular bond, a DNA, a double helix. We can change that. That's what self-discovery is. Self-discovery is a very advanced art. What we're doing basically is screwing around with what you're made up of. We're taking awarenesses, feelings, ideas, impressions, and changing them. We do that with ourselves. As you expose yourself again and again to the power of meditation, to the Kundalini, you're changing that and refining it, enlarging it. You have a house that has many, many rooms in it, but you've only seen a few. But there's so many. And then there's beyond the house, there's the outdoors, the endless universe. You're sitting on this little planet, spaceship Earth. But the universe is very accessible to you. You don't need a spaceship to travel there. And most of the worlds are non-physical. And it's all God. It's all eternity. I'm going to teach you another meditation technique. This one is very simple. It's a focus on the heart center. The heart center is the principal chakra. There are 3 above and 3 below. It's the central axis of the being. What I would like you to do, it's very simple, is to focus on this spot and to feel love. Now, how do you feel love? Spontaneously? Well, you can think of someone you love or something you love, a nice experience that you've had, anything to get the flow started. The patient is on the table, not breathing. We've got to get that. We're going to pound that sucker, pow, to get him started. Once he's started, you see, then the heart will get going again. Well, we can do it more delicately. What we're going to do is feel love. That's going to get something in us started. It's going to get our awareness moving, light flowing through our consciousness. So what I'd like you to do is simply to focus on this center. If you like, you might visualize a flower or feel that there's a flower there, but it's like a rose and it's all folded up. And as you meditate, feel, you don't have to see a mental picture, but just feel that the flower is opening, that there are all these petals, they're closed up, and gradually they're opening up. And there's set after set of petals, and as each set of petals opens up, it's a little larger than the first set. The first set that opens up will kind of fill a small area. Real slowly and gracefully they'll open up, and light will go through your being. A second set will open up, and maybe it'll fill the chest area very gracefully. A third set will open and fill the whole body. A fourth set, the room. A fifth set, the whole sky. A sixth set, the universe. A seventh set, all of eternity, and so on. Endless petals opening up. Each time you open up a set of petals, you're going deeper into the self, deeper into nirvana, deeper into eternal awareness. When thoughts come in and out of your mind, just ignore them. You might try meditating that way with the eyes closed for a few minutes. You might try meditating them with the eyes open. It's good to learn to meditate that way. We call it gazing, just looking forward without a singular focus. And you can see the Kundalini actually moving through the air. Other than the light changes, of course, there are other changes taking place. As you watch my hands, you may notice energy flowing through them. It's going through you. It's the transmission of the Kundalini. So we'll meditate again for about 10 minutes. And you'll notice that this meditation will be quite different. Try and feel love. We're meditating on love this time. It's the strongest force in the universe. And we're just going to open ourselves up to it and just let it carry us. There are a lot of wonderful people here, and we're all networking our energy together. We're getting high together. And they can't do anything about it. So let's try. So sit up nice and straight, please. Focus on the center of the chest. Relax, relax. Enjoy yourself. This is your life. Exactly. And imagine a flower there if you like, or just focus on that spot for a few minutes. And feel it unfolding. Let yourself go, ignore your thoughts. And let's meditate. Please sit back and relax. It's a good idea when you meditate to avoid eating for a few hours before you meditate, because otherwise you just feel your body too much. You really don't want to feel the body. If you're very, very hungry, though, you should have something to eat, because otherwise you'll just sit there and think of food, which is not the worst thing to think of, granted. Kundalini flows in different directions. Some people are under the assumption that the Kundalini just flows from the base of the spine up. That's not the case at all. It flows a lot of different ways. Kundalini also flows downward. You can take the Kundalini from the crown center, which is an access point, and bring it down. You can bring it up, or you can stabilize them both. When you stop breathing in meditation, the Kundalini is stabilized. When you go into samadhi, very often you won't breathe for half an hour. There's no breath at all. The Kundalini, the life force, is perfectly stabilized. Usually they stabilize in the solar plexus area. You can stabilize it anywhere, actually, but that's the most common. The Kundalini can be used for a lot of purposes. Healing disease, obviously, healing the mind. More importantly, it can be used to help awaken someone to life. We're all asleep. This is a dream that we're in this world. We're trying to wake up. We have this recurring dream. It's that we're human beings, that we have bodies, that we're in time and space, that there's birth and death. We keep having this dream day after day. To awaken from the dream of life, or to see endless dreams, or to go beyond the dream to nirvana. To be conscious of eternity, and yet to be here and to be aware of the moment. Meditation, never leave the body without it. I'd like to answer a few questions about meditation and the Kundalini specifically for a few minutes. We'll be doing another meditation after a while. It'll be our final one for the evening, but that won't be for a while yet. And if you have a question, I'd like you to raise your hand. If you could say it nice and loudly so I can hear you, it would be helpful. And I'll repeat the question for everyone else because they probably won't be able to hear. So if you have a question, please raise your hand. There's such a vast area of meditation and the Kundalini. You may have specific interests. When you meditate at home, sometimes it's good to try very hard. You just want to really just do your absolute best. Now, sometimes some people say when they start to meditate, they get a headache when they meditate. It's because they're trying too hard. You're pulling too much energy. It's like eating too much and then you feel sick afterwards. So if you just feel any ill effects, it means you're trying too hard. But tonight, it's really not necessary for you to try very hard because there's just so much Kundalini surging that if you try too hard, you'll get in your own way. You see, it's just best just to let go and leave it this evening. That'd be the easiest. To try, not to try. It goes back and forth. To strive, not to strive. There are different ways of talking about something that's really beyond words. That's an experience, which is why we meditate together. You see, real higher meditation is not taught through techniques or words. These are the beginning steps. That's how we start someone. And everyone has to go through that process, really. You have to learn the basics. One can never be too proud to learn how to begin again. But the real meditation experience is taught, it's either just learned, of course, through practice, naturally, but it's taught inwardly. In other words, you shift a person through different dimensional planes, but they have to do the prep for you to be able to do that as a teacher. So it's necessary for you to meditate on your own and just refine your consciousness, tighten up your life. Constantly examine your life and look for weak points. Are your relationships sloppy? Are your emotions sloppy? Or are they tight? Are you loving and giving? Are you being selfish and weird? What's going on in your life? And as you meditate, you get clearer on that. You get clearer on the fact that you can shape and mold your life. You can be an architect of your own destiny. Most people, they lead their lives like they drive their cars. And you can be more precise. You can lead a life poorly or very well. So meditation gives you the energy and also the insight to do that. As to meditate, how should you meditate hard, easily? Every meditation is unique. There's no absolute rule. That's what makes it fun. You have to feel out each situation and try as you go. So if you're sitting there meditating one day and you're meditating in the heart center, it's been great the last 3 times, this time nothing. Don't stay with it. Switch. Do something else. Be creative. Meditate in your navel center. Do another exercise. Switch it around. Don't be bound. Okay. Stop for a minute. You're sitting there. It's just not happening. Stop. Take a break for a moment. Okay. Walk around. Sit down. Try again. Try a different room. A different energy. Every place has different energy. Be creative in your meditation. So tonight, if you're sitting there and you're trying real hard and it's just not kicking over for you, don't try so hard, obviously. You see, every situation is different. But there's just so much energy tonight that it's not necessary. Questions? Yes?
Yeah, quite recently when I meditate at home, I find that my breath stops with the same chord. Now I've been fighting that.
Mm-hmm.
Because, well, I don't know why. How do you deal with that?
How do you deal with the fact that you're meditating at home and sometimes you stop breathing? And your question is, how do you deal with that? How do you deal with it? Well, I don't know. I can remember when that started happening to me about 15 years ago. And I wouldn't breathe, and then suddenly you become real uptight because you're not breathing. You say, your mind says, I'm not breathing. I'm supposed to be breathing. God, I'm not breathing. And then you realize all you did was just bring yourself down from a nice meditation. The trick is to meditate just a little higher and you won't even know that you're not breathing. So then it isn't a problem. Because as long as you're in the plane where you know you're not breathing, you know you're going to think about it. You're trying not to think about an armadillo with a purple beret. Good luck. Here he comes now, you know. Right? So you know you're not breathing. Okay, it's good you're not breathing. You don't need to breathe too much. People breathe too much. Listen. If everybody would breathe less, there'd be more oxygen on the planet. Rama's suggestion. So you don't need to breathe. It's happening by itself. But your mind will tell you you do because we've been conditioned to think that we need to breathe. And you don't need to breathe so much. I mean, breathing is nice, you know, it's okay, but it's nothing to get attached to. It's a matter of just ignoring that whole experience. It's just another place to get stuck. As you're meditating, okay, you're stuck to start out with. You're stuck in your thoughts. It's like your feet are in, you know, Bonomo's Turkish taffy or something. You know, you're trying to get them out, and then you get one free, and then you get the other one free, and then finally you're going. But then along the way, there are little things that kind of grab you. See? And those are all your attachments. So you're having a great meditation, thought stops, you're cruising along, and then suddenly the love of your life comes into your mind. He, she, or it is sitting at home thinking about you, reaching out, throwing a little lasso of occult energy around saying, don't go so fast there. Think about me. Now, of course, if you're not experienced in the ways of occult power, you'll assume that you're just thinking about Susie or Bill or, you know, the armadillo or whatever you're into. And you won't realize that they are, because human beings are very strong and they all radiate Kundalini and energy, inserting themselves into your thoughts. It's true, it's true. It's a good idea if you're going to have a really good meditation to unplug the phone. Because you'd be surprised. Boy, that's when you learn early. Because just when it's finally happening, then ring, you know, hi, son, you know, or whatever it may be, right, you know. And it's like, blah, 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 blah. Just the energy crackles along the line. Another question. Yes? I would think so. Yeah. Okay, so your problem is then that you live in a, as you said, a multi-room dwelling where different people live, known as a rooming house. And that there's a fellow who lives in the room next to you who, as you put it very poetically, has a drinking problem. And that when he starts to rave and scream, as you said, like he puts out a lot of bad energy, and you're sitting in your room and you notice the flowers are wilting and stuff like that. So your question then is, I'm just repeating it for all to hear, your question is, how can you put out an energy that will kind of protect you from that experience? Okay. Well, the obvious answer is move, naturally. That's the easiest. Because when it's real serious, it's going to be a battle every step of the way. But if that just isn't in the cards, you really like the room, or you're just determined, or you signed a lease or whatever, and you're stuck with it, then you need to turn your room into a place of power. Ooh. Yeah, it's a good idea to have flowers around, candles, incense, happy things. Make your room a beautiful place. I mean, you should always do that with your house anyway. You should have beauty wherever you are, because life is so pretty. And so just make your room really beautiful and just keep it very clean, impeccably clean. All the closets in order, drawers, everything in perfect place. And just turn on music when he screams. That's the best, I think, personally. A walk person, headphones, There's not much you can do except feel that he doesn't exist. This is the trick. What you can do, it's possible, now I don't know if you can do this, but I can do this. It's possible to block out any noise, not by blocking it out, but by expanding your attention level so that it's so vast that it's just another part of eternity, and you do not apply a specific mental charge to it. In other words, that particular sound or those vibrations that person is sending out are offending you. They're offending your sensibility. They hurt your subtle body. But it's possible to go up high enough where everything is sort of a white noise. Everything just blends together. You can do that. In the beginning, that's pretty hard, though. I'd move. That's my advice. But just if you don't do that, just make your own life as tight as possible. Don't think badly of the person, because what can they do? I mean, this is his karma, right? He can't help it. He's got a weak, subtle physical body, so he drinks. Life hurts sometimes real badly. Who knows? I mean, we should never criticize or judge a person who does things like that, because who knows what they've been through in their life. Some people have some pretty rough lives, and he's just killing the pain. That's all he's doing. But naturally, you're in a different place. You're vibrating at a different cycle. So you have to do something about it. I'd move, or just try and be very compassionate and understanding, and play music. Yeah, little things, little practical applications. But if you can in your heart understand what's going on, it's easier to deal with it, because obviously this person has had a tough incarnation. Question? Yes. Yes. Okay. So you're saying that sometimes when you meditate, you're kind of going beyond the body, and then you notice that your body is sort of tilting or falling or something like that, yeah? Yeah, okay. Right, and that brings you back, so that's not a good thing. What you need to do is learn to discipline your body to sit there. Okay, you can do this when you go into very advanced states of attention. And the way you do it is just by gently correcting yourself. When you meditate, your body shouldn't move. Some people get this Kundalini sway business, It's nauseating to watch them meditate. Okay, you get a whole room like that, and it's like, you bring Dramamine to the meditations, So, the body should be kept still. And if you find yourself leaning during a meditation, okay, then just correct yourself, just gently. Don't worry about bringing yourself down. That's fine. Correct yourself. You'll just have to do it a few times. You make a little habit of it. Just as soon as you start to go off, bring yourself right back. And you'll find after a while the body will know that, and it will just stay that way. The only time that there will be variance is in samadhi. In Nirvikalpa samadhi, you go completely beyond this world, beyond the physical level of attention, and the body just That's it. It doesn't, it's gone. You erased. Doesn't matter, you don't care. But, huh?
The actual impression I have is that I'm not there, I'm not in my body, and suddenly I'm reminded of my body because
Yeah, your body is, yes, exactly. Your body's distracting you. That's what I'm saying. If you take the time to every time observe your body for a while, okay, and correct yourself. In other words, this problem could go on your whole life, okay. Better you should take a little time and correct it early now, and just pay a little attention to your posture. Every once in a while, check yourself during the meditation. And you might think, well, that's going to bring me down. That's okay. If you do it just for a little while, for a month or so, it'll become a routine. You'll never have to do it again. Otherwise, you're going to deal with this thing forever. See what I mean? So just use a little tighter physical attention on it, and it'll work out fine. Question? Yes, there's somebody back over there. Okay. If your subtle body is damaged, how can you tell where it's damaged and how do you repair it? I wouldn't so much worry about where it's damaged, because usually it's not a specific place. It can be, but usually it's just more of an erosion of the whole subtle physical body. Okay, it's just not sort of healthy. What can you do about it? Well, first of all, naturally, you have to stop the harm that's being done to it. But even actually before that, you have to realize that there's harm being done to it. Let me give you an example. Let's say that you go up in the mountains and it's real cold up there. And you come into the cabin and it's just freezing. It's 10 below zero. But even some of the windows are open or they have to be boarded up. It's just a mess. The first thing to do is light a fire. First thing, light the fire. Don't worry about the windows. Light the fire. Once the fire is going, that'll provide a certain amount of warmth. And with that warmth, you can then take your time and fill in the biggest holes to start with, the biggest losses. And the heat will spread and you'll get warmer. Then you can gradually get the little ones until there's no heat loss whatsoever. Also, you can make the fire larger or whatever. So with the subtle physical body and with one's attention field, we start first by generating energy, the Kundalini. You've got to make yourself warm. You need energy and life force to see and feel what you need to do. Otherwise, you're in a dark room and you can't tell what's going on. So to begin with, you just need to practice more meditation. That's the best thing you can do. And to meditate well. Some people, I talk to them, they, oh, I meditate for 4 hours a day. And you look at their consciousness, it's like, ugh. You meditate for 4 hours a day. They're obviously not meditating for 4 hours a day. They're sitting there spacing out. They're not meditating. Okay, there's a large difference between spacing out into the lower occult astral planes, just kind of this weird, junky, fuzzy energy, and meditation. Meditation is sharp, clear, precise, perfect, luminous, shiny, happy, etheric, cosmic, dissolute. It has various forms and formlessnesses. But it's not this kind of spacey stuff that then makes it difficult to orient to your life. If that's your experience of meditation, you're not meditating. You're tapping into the lower astral planes, which is not a healthy place for human beings to tap. So you need to have good, clear, sharp, precise meditations that are filled with love and light and energy. Then you can address questions in your life. And you start with the biggest energy losses. The biggest energy losses for most people are relationships, interrelations with other people. That's where we lose most energy. Through our attachments, or just by opening ourselves up to people who may be very nice on the surface, but underneath they have a lot of problems. And when we open our heart up to someone, that energy, of course, comes into us. So you just have to start to examine the people in your life and ask yourself if you're really having fun with them. Sometimes we keep relationships going with people who aren't what they used to be. They're not the people we knew and liked. They've changed, we've changed. But we keep up this association because we're afraid to make a jump to something new, and we die inwardly. When we're young, when we're little kids, we change, we make new friends all the time, we're alive, we're growing. But we get scared as adults, we get too conservative. We die. So begin by looking at your relationships. And usually what you do is you just take out a piece of paper, two actually, and on one piece of paper just put down all the people you know and associate with who you feel are adding more to your life than they're taking. And then on the other piece of paper, put all the people you know, list them, who are taking more than they're adding. You should also include people from the past. Just because you're not physically close to someone doesn't mean that there isn't an interaction of energies. You may not have seen your ex-wife for 10 years, but there can be an interaction taking place. Then what you need to do when you find any that you feel are not happening, they're not generating energy, you need to cut those inside yourself. At the umbilical region, we actually network with people. And so what you can do, there's a little exercise where you just can picture, if you want to, that you're cutting these cords that go out to everyone you know. And as you do that, you create a sense of detachment. That doesn't mean you don't love them. It just means you're cutting down on the negative energy pickup from people. The people who hurt you are the ones you love because you're most open to them. Then, of course, you have to look at your own thought forms. Are you sitting around thinking a lot of negative thoughts? These injure the subtle body. When you hate, when you're angry, you bring that energy through you. Are you focusing too much on the lower occult, the lower astral? Are you contacting entities and strange low-vibe beings in weird worlds? If you do that, you're accessing energies that are very bad for the subtle physical. You should be focusing more on light, energy, storing personal power, whatever it may be. But there's certain neighborhoods that are not healthy to traverse. Then, of course, it gets much deeper, naturally. Then we get into self-discovery. That's my specialty. And that's dissecting someone inwardly, looking at the different selves, making changes in them, and so on and so forth. It's what we call the Tibetan rebirth process. It's a very complex process of changing levels of attention, changing selves around, and so forth. It's all done inwardly with the Kundalini. That's the art of self-discovery, advanced self-discovery. But first you have to go through all those preliminary stages. And also, there are obvious physical things you can do. Spend time in nature. Get away from the city once in a while. Go jogging down on the beach. The ocean is a wonderful place, if there's not too many people around, to draw in a lot of prana, a lot of good energy. Have a lot of plants in your house, happy things. Plants generate energy. Make friends with them. Transact with nature. Nature is energy, is prana, is healing. Drink lots of water. Has a lot of prana in it. Things like that. Physical exercise, anything that's aerobic, where you're moving a lot. Jogging, tennis, swimming, long-distance walking, hopping, whatever. Be very careful whom you love. Not how much, but whom. All the usual spiritual stuff, And then the subtle body will begin to return. A lot of people trash their subtle physical body with drugs. Psychedelic drugs and things like that. While they do certainly give you experiences and altered levels of attention, you pay a price for it. They create some awakenings, but they definitely screw up the subtle physical. And so sometimes yoga is very good for that. Hatha yoga, that's good. Sometimes fasting, not excessively, but that can be good. Lots of things. Whatever makes you feel good. You might be listening to music, things like that. Just find what makes you feel gentle. What makes you feel still. And people who have that effect upon you. I mean, sometimes it's fun to just be crazy with energy and laugh and be silly. Don't misunderstand. That can be very regenerative. But you need the stillness, too. What is the relationship between the Kundalini force and the sex force? The sexual drive is Kundalini. Really, any energy within us is a form of Kundalini. So it's a particular fragrance or aspect of Kundalini. Now, like all things, they're neither good nor bad. It's how they're applied. And I wouldn't even say the effect is good or bad, but there is what we call karma. Karma simply means that there's a reaction for an action. There's cause and effect in the world of duality. So the sexual energy then becomes problematic if you use it to enslave someone, to demoralize them, to hurt them, to wrap them up, okay? In other words, the way most people use sexual energy is to hook somebody. They use it to wrap them, to get control over them. Some people use the sexual energy, particularly during intercourse, to take personal power from each other. Or it's just a gratification of a physical sensation. There are lots of ways it can be used. But those ways don't engender or arise in consciousness. If you use that energy to love somebody, then it works a little better in terms of raising one's level of attention. Some people say that if you have sex, you can't be enlightened. That's not my point of view. I think it isn't really so much whether you have sex or not, but it's what you're doing with your attention level during that time. That's the issue. In other words, if you can meditate and be very high, regardless of what you're doing, then that's what you're doing. You're meditating. But you have to be able to slash through your desires to do that, because otherwise you get so caught up in physical sensation, pleasure, this, that, and the other thing, that you're distracted from meditating. So you have to have a very intense degree of detachment and determination to do that. But then it can become a cosmic experience, you see, as everything is. But the Kundalini and sex are extremely interrelated. The sexual drive is part of the Kundalini. And that's why it's funny, because some people who have a lot of sexual energy, they think of themselves as being not spiritual because they have a lot of sexual energy, and that's like, tee-hee. How silly. They're probably more spiritually inclined. All that sexual energy is Kundalini. That's all it is. They'd probably do really, really well in meditation. But because in certain books they say, well, blah, 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 and you figure you're kinky, right? And you figure, what hope is there for me? But from my point of view, you'll probably do better because you have more life force, more energy, and it's just manifesting. But what you need to do is take some of that energy and use it in some other ways, in addition to sexuality. You see, it's a very healthy sign. It means you're alive. You've got a lot of life force, so you're trying to give it away. Nice of you. Such a guy. Now, if you're interested in developing the siddhas, the occult powers, all that stuff, you have to be a little more conservative, unless you're very, very far along. Because there is a certain drop of a type of Kundalini when you have sex. So if you're into developing the supernatural powers, then it's a good idea to be a little more temperate. Some occult teachers suggest celibacy. I don't know. But in terms of spiritual development, meditative development, enlightenment, and so on, it's not a big deal whether you have sex or not. The question is more who you have sex with and what their energy is doing to you. Because if you're having sex with someone who's not on the same frequency that you're on, it can be very problematic, because the greatest transfer, karmic transfer, occurs aside from in meditating with someone, in sex with someone. Particularly for women, because women tend to open themselves up more, and just because their subtle physical bodies are so much more sensitive, they pick up the total energy of the man they have sex with. And so it's a real problem, because a lot of men hate women subconsciously, or just are very confused about them, or afraid of their power, or want to suppress them, or the usual. And so when they have sex with someone, what happens is, on the one hand, they're having a good time, or they're trying to do this or perform or whatever. It's Ed Sullivan, hey. But gotcha. Yeah. But the problem is that it's not Ed Sullivan, and that's somebody, and you're affecting their attention level incredibly. And if you have a lot of problems inside yourself, they transfer. So it's good to be selective and to love a whole lot and not be attached. It's a very delicate balance. And the further along you go, the more delicate the balance. It's the razor's edge that we walk in advanced self-discovery. So what I'm trying to say is, it isn't important what you do or what you don't do, it's how. And by how, I don't mean Kama Sutra position number 95. Hanging from 1 foot from a large building, while chanting the mantra, Fwam. But rather, the quality of your love. That's what I mean. The quality of your attention, your ability to maintain a sense of love and giving without any ownership, without any possessiveness, without any jealousy, without any greed. A sense of the total sensitivity of this universe that you're colliding with, and trying to be perfect for that universe without any egotism or vanity whatsoever. It's a very fine line. And if you don't do that, if you're not able to do that exactly correctly, it comes back on you naturally. It's a very quick karma. And your level of attention drops, and afterwards you don't get along, you don't feel so good, your energy's down. That's because it was not a transcendent experience, because you didn't care enough and give enough, and you got lazy, sloppy, and selfish, like most people. But it doesn't have to be that way. You could be 1 in a billion, why not? What the heck? It's worth taking a shot at. Practice, keep me informed. Oh, one or two more, then we have to meditate. Yes, another one. Yes. Oh yeah, you wrap them up with your second attention. Yeah, most people do. Right, it's a habit, yeah. Women are very good at it particularly. Well, men do it too in a different way, but women have really developed it as an art. They've had to survive. You understand? You know, in the world, the way men have designed it, if you can't use that power, I mean, what else have you got, right? You know? So, but the problem with it is it limits you. It puts you into a control situation. And even though you can control someone, it protects you in a certain extent, still you're in a controlling situation, in duality, it brings you down. So what you really need to do, I would suggest, is just, first of all, watch how much you do it. It's fascinating. Because we're brought up and educated to do it. You know, and then you need to be around people who aren't like that. I mean, people who have decided that there's another way to lead their life, and it's not necessary to wrap people up. The reason you're doing it is because you don't have enough power. If you had enough power, if you could unlock your own personal power, you wouldn't need to control others. So you need to be around people who've learned there's another way of leading life. And if you can find people like that who feel good to you, and you're around them, and that's how they lead their lives, you'll find that it's catching. It's a happy disease to get. And that's, you don't have to control people. And you can easily stop them from controlling you. But you have to be able to see to do that. You have to develop your psychic abilities and increase your personal power and all the usual things. But yeah, it can be done. But I don't have a simple technique for you. It's a way of life. Some of us lead lives like that and we have a good time. Blah, blah. One more. Uh-huh. How do you, let's say you're going to meditate. If you're very new to meditation, you're just starting, I suggest that you have a watch or a clock by you and set a minimum amount of time. Chances are what you're going to be doing is referring to it occasionally, because after 5 minutes you're going to say, I have to sit here longer. So you set 15 minutes, let's say, as a minimum. You're going to sit there no matter what you think. Songs are running through your head. You're thinking a million things you never would think. Okay? This is never going to work. Doesn't matter. Sit there, do the 15 minutes. After that, you'll find, after a few weeks, that it becomes very comfortable, and suddenly you'll look down at the watch, and 20 minutes have gone by, or 25. So what you want to do is sit as long as it feels good. Once you've reached a minimum time, and you've just gotten used to that, then just sit as long as it feels good. Sometimes it's fun to set little hurdles for yourself. It depends. There are different ways to go about this. There's not one right way. Some people like to set hurdles, so then they'll try half an hour as a minimum time. See? Other people would feel uptight if they did that. It wouldn't be a natural flow for them. So maybe it's better then just to see how long you sit. When it stops feeling good, you'll just find yourself stopping. Sometimes you'll start out and you might meditate in the heart center or in one of these various methods that that I'll show you, or others I'll show you another night, or that you've learned elsewhere. And you meditate, and for 15 or 20 minutes, it's wonderful. Then suddenly you'll feel your consciousness logging back too much on the physical. The thing to do is then maybe do a different technique for a few minutes. And what you're doing when you do that is bringing Kundalini through, and then you're riding that Kundalini for a while. A time comes when you don't have to use meditation techniques anymore. You just sit down in your non-existence itself. So as far as time is concerned, just as long as it feels really good. Once you've reached the point where you're past the minimum time. Good. We're going to do one more meditation technique to close it out here. And this one will be the most powerful. So please listen carefully. This one's a little complicated. Okay, so I need your second attention here. What I would like you to do in a minute is to sit up straight again. And for the first couple minutes of the meditation, I'd like you to focus right around the back of the neck. there's a chakra that a lot of people don't know about. Okay, most people are aware of the basic 7 or the ones in the hands or the feet, but there's some other more hidden energy centers in the subtle physical body. There's one around the back of the neck. Okay, it's just kind of around the top of the neck. And put your hand back there just for a second. Just feel that area back there. Feel your neck sort of, and come up just about to the top of it where you're connecting with the head. Never thought of it that way, did you? Good thing, huh? Yeah. Right around there, okay? That's where you're going to be focusing to start with. What I'd like you to do is to start focusing your attention right there. And then take that energy and feel that it's going to transmit from there in 2 lines to your hands. I don't want you to move your hands, do anything with your hands. Just put them in a comfortable position. You might put them on your lap. Some people hold them like this, or just any way you want. But just feel that 2 lines of energy are going to move out from here to your hands. And when they hit your hands, you'll kind of feel a warming sensation. And then from the hands, we're going to bounce that energy right back to the heart center and ground it. We're taking a very occult or a very mystical energy and we're shooting it through, and then we're going to bring it into the psychic being. And it's done in waves like we did before. So we're going to start with the energy here, and then just feel it pulsing towards your hands. You can visualize lines of light if you like, or not. Just feel it going there. It doesn't matter whether it travels in a straight line or through your arms, whatever, it gets there. Just feel the energy going there, and it's going right to the very center of the palms. And then it's going to bounce back. Okay, this is a more advanced technique now, so it's a little stronger. And then it's going to bounce back, okay, and go right into the heart center. So it's just out and back, out and back. Just do that in a rhythmic way for just a couple minutes. And then stop, let go with the music. And then open your eyes a little bit and watch me meditate. Just observe without looking too hard. You don't want to focus too sharply. Just kind of, you're not just watching me, the body, but you're watching the energy fields here. You're relaxing your eyes, not looking too sharply, gazing. And just watching. You're letting go. Then you might try closing your eyes again, opening them, whatever is comfortable for you. So you're going to start by focusing your attention back here for a few moments, and then just feel this energy moving into your hands any way you want to, as long as it gets there. And then you're going to feel it coming back from the hands right into the heart, right into the psychic center. And then it just dissolves. It radiates through your whole being there. What we're doing is taking an occult energy, bringing it into a place that's like an amplifier. It's amplifying in the chakras in the hands, and then we're neutralizing it and spreading it through the being. And again, the hands can be in any position. It doesn't matter. The energy flows. And that would be good. So please sit up straight and close your eyes for a moment. And focus around the back of the neck to start out with. And let us begin. you guys stand up for that? Stand up. Thanks a lot. On guitar, Joaquin Lievano. Bass and synthesizer, Andy West. A lot of synthesizers, Steve Kaplan. Two blisses, lots of astral beings, lots of energy. Thank you very much. Good night. Get one of our free brochures on the way out. Hope to see you again. Namaste.